Hey, welcome. So, there's been a lot of chatter and some pretty scary headlines about avian flu recently. And you know what? It's causing some real concern. So, today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. We're just going to give you the clear, simple facts so you can understand what the real risks are and, more importantly, how to stay safe. Let's get right into it. Okay, first things first. Let's get to the question that is probably on everyone's mind. What about my favorite ramen egg? That perfect runny yolk? Is it still safe to eat? It's a simple question, right? But the answer is super important. Stick with me and we're going to figure this out together. So, what's kicking all this off? Well, it's this piece of news. For the very first time, Taiwan has a confirmed local case of H7N7 avian flu that jumped directly from a bird to a person. Now, I know that sounds pretty unsettling, so let's break down exactly what happened. All right, let's dive into the specifics of this first case. Because when we understand the details here, we can get a much clearer picture of the actual risk we're all looking at. This whole story centers on one person, a 70-year-old duck farmer. And this is important because it puts a human face on the virus. We're not just talking about statistics, we're talking about real people, their families, and their livelihoods. So here are the key details you need to know. The patient was a 70-year-old duck farmer who already had some underlying health issues like diabetes and heart disease. He started with a cough and fever, which then developed into pneumonia. But, and this is the most important part of his story, after getting treatment, he made a full recovery. He's already been discharged from the hospital and is back home. Okay, so the patient has recovered, which is fantastic news. But that leaves us with the bigger question. What does this mean for the rest of us? Just how high is the risk that this could spread? Let's take a look at the actual science behind it. You know, to really get the risk, you have to understand the virus itself. Now, you're looking at a basic flu virus here, but not all flu viruses are created equal, not by a long shot. You hear all those letters and numbers, right? H7N7, H5N1. Well, they just refer to different proteins on the virus's surface, and those tiny little differences are what make one strain basically harmless and another one really dangerous. And that brings us to the most critical point here. We all hear about H5N1. That's the one that's known to be highly pathogenic, meaning it can be very severe. But the virus in this specific case, H7N7, is considered to have low pathogenicity. Officials have been very clear that this was an isolated case, not the beginning of a widespread outbreak. That difference is absolutely key to putting the real risk into perspective. And just to be crystal clear, this isn't just our take. This is the official word from Taiwan's Centers for Disease Control. They've stated flat out there is currently no risk of it spreading from person to person. In fact, they monitored all 33 people the patient came into close contact with, family, healthcare workers, you name it, and every single one of them tested negative. The incident is officially considered closed. Okay, so the public health risk is low. That's great. But that doesn't mean we can't empower ourselves to be even safer. Because you know what? The real front line for preventing stuff like this isn't in some high-tech lab. It's right in our own homes. It starts at our dining tables. I want you to burn this number into your brain. 70 degrees Celsius. That's 158 degrees Fahrenheit. See, avian flu viruses are actually pretty wimpy when it comes to heat. As long as your food, whether we're talking chicken, duck, or eggs, reaches an internal temperature of 70 degrees Celsius, the virus is completely destroyed. It's really that simple. So let's circle back to that big question from the beginning. For right now, the smart and safe bet is to stick with the stuff on the left. We're talking fully cooked eggs where the yolk and the white are both firm. That means we should probably take a temporary break from the deliciousness on the right, things like soft-boiled eggs, onsen eggs, or anything with a runny yolk. The rule is simple: if it's cooked all the way through, you're good to go. Beyond just cooking things properly, our general kitchen habits play a massive role in keeping us safe from all sorts of germs, not just this one. So let's talk about making our kitchens a total no-go zone for nasty bacteria and viruses. Okay, let's settle the great egg washing debate once and for all, because there's a lot of confusion here. When you get your eggs home from the store, do not wash them. Washing them actually scrubs off a natural protective coating called the bloom. Just give them a quick wipe with a dry cloth and pop them in the fridge. Then, right before you're about to crack one open for cooking, that's the time to give the shell a good wash. It's a simple two-step that really cuts down the risk of anything on the shell getting into your food. Your food defense really starts at the supermarket. When you're buying any poultry or eggs, keep an eye out for these official seals. You've got the CAS mark, the qualified slaughter label, and traceability certifications. These are basically your guarantee that the product has been properly inspected and comes from a safe, regulated source. Cross-contamination is a huge deal, but it's actually pretty easy to prevent. Rule number 1, use different cutting boards for raw meat and for everything else, like your veggies. Same goes for knives. And it should go without saying, but always wash your hands, utensils, and countertops with soap and hot water after they've touched raw poultry or eggs. Whew, that was a lot of information, I know. So let's wrap this all up and boil it down to some really simple, easy-to-remember rules. Think of this as your personal health defense cheat sheet. All right, here are the 5 key things you should always do. 1, cook your food all the way through. Remember that 70-degree magic number. 2, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. 3, if you happen to be near a poultry farm or a live bird market, wear a mask. 4, get your annual flu shot. It really helps. And 5, just keep your immune system in top shape with a good, balanced diet. And on the flip side, here are the 6 big don'ts, the things to absolutely avoid. Don't eat raw or undercooked poultry and eggs. Don't buy meat from sketchy or unknown sources. Stay away from wild birds. Don't touch them, don't feed them. Avoid mixing different kinds of poultry if you keep birds at home. And this is a big one, don't touch your face with unwashed hands. Finally, if you start feeling sick with flu-like symptoms, don't just brush it off. Go see a doctor right away. So look, this whole situation was an isolated incident, and thankfully it was handled really well. But it's also a powerful reminder, a wake-up call, right? While we can't always predict when or where the next virus might pop up, we can absolutely control how prepared we are. All these simple habits we build today, in the kitchen, at the market, and our daily lives, they are our absolute best defense for whatever comes tomorrow. So I guess the real question is, next time, will we be ready?